Welcome to my review of the new Callaway Apex 19 Hybrid, a brand new hybrid from Callaway Apex shaping that we've seen previously, but we're going to take a little look at this today, review it and give you my thoughts of the actual club with its performance through GC2 HMT on the ground and see maybe if this is a hybrid that possibly you might go out there and test yourselves. So just before we jump into the video, if you haven't subscribed, enjoying the content I'm putting out, then please consider hitting that subscribe button, ring that bell icon so you get notifications as soon as a video lands on my channel. You'll be the very first ones to watch it, so you're not going to miss a thing. Also, hook up on my social media platforms, both Instagram and Twitter, and the handles there are @MNGolfCoach. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the new Apex Hybrid, and we've seen Apex Hybrids before from Callaway, and it's that very similar sort of shaping. And for me personally, this is a hybrid shape that I really sort of like. Being maybe a sort of better player, I don't like to see that hybrid work left. My bad shot tends to be a little bit left, and this, as I present this down by the golf ball, it's a little bit more of it reminds me more of a chunky driving iron in a way, even though it's not. It just gives me that impression. And first thing instincts I see is that high toe section, which I quite like, and I see very little offset on this club, which again makes, to me, feels like I can't miss it, or less chance of me missing it to the left. So very appealing to me, and I like the sort of shape of it. It's a very similar shape to the old Adams hybrid, with that sort of squared off sort of toe section, and it's quite a high sort of toe section there as well. And they were really nice hybrid. So I've got this in a 20 degree, which is a number 3. They also do a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5 option in it, so obviously replacing those long irons. So we're going to get the first one here. So beautiful black gloss finish behind the ball, blacked out face, which looks very stylish. That feels lovely. Great sound to that. Really nice sound. Very positive sort of crack to that flighted quite nicely as well. So probably if it was me, I may be popping this in a 2 option just to try and get that flight down. The 2's an 18 degree, so give me a little bit more of that iron sort of flight. And we've got a weighted screw in the bottom of this club, which is a 7 gram, which is positioned quite central. So it's a very sort of neutral bias, which tends to more that better player would like to sort of see this. So very much a product that Callaway said is aimed towards that better player who likes that look and that sort of playability in terms of a bit more neutral on its ball flight. Yeah, it's a stunning ball flight. Very sort of penetrated. It seems to come out a little bit more that way, where some hybrids may be looking at like Callaway's other option in terms of the Rogue hybrid. You'll see the from the front to the back of the head is much more stretched back, so very much promoting that higher launch for that type of golfer maybe has less speed or wants to get that ball flighted higher, softer landing into the greens. Obviously that does a job where I think the Apex, I say, tends to be more aimed towards that better player who like to maybe see it come out a little bit more flatter, and try and take that sort of left side of the golf course out of play. So the other technology we've got happening in the Apex Hybrid for the first time is Jailbreak. So obviously we've seen Jailbreak happen in the drivers, now moved into the fairways and obviously into the hybrid as well. So supporting that sole to the crown, stiffening the body of the club so that no energy is lost and it's transferred back through the golf ball in terms of ball speed. We've also got a forged cup face. And again, that's creating what Callaway says more speed across the face. So we're still seeing levels of forgiveness there and trying to keep that ball speed up, but in that more playable sort of maybe ball flight and sort of look down by the golf ball. Now, maybe this sort of downside to this, it's quite a deep face, and especially in that toe section, you see it quite high in that toe section. So sometimes when you put that down by the golf ball, with the deeper face, it makes the ball look quite low in the face. So again, it depends on the individual how confident you can feel that you can get that ball maybe off that tight lie. Obviously in a bit of rough there, maybe not too bad, but in that tight lie, how confident you feel of getting that ball up in the air. Again, that's a little bit more for you to sort of decide and while you're testing it. Yeah, it feels beautiful. That's a really nice neutral shot. Yeah, that's nearly a line ball there, which is great. So again, it's a lovely feel, great sound. I love the way that comes off. I love the way that sits behind the golf ball. Does look like it's harder for me to miss it left, which is ticking a big box for me. And as I say, the feel off the face is lovely. Okay, so there's 3 standard sort of swings and shots there. What I just want to do here, just to have a little play around with this and see how easy it is to maybe drop that flight a little bit lower again. Yes, we've got some different loft options, obviously 2 that can do that, but let's see how this is workable in terms of knocking a flight down. Now we know with a hybrid is always tending to sort of flight it a little bit higher than maybe that driving iron or your iron sort of ball flight. But again, maybe as that better player would like to maybe just manipulate that launch a little bit and that flight. So I'm just going to try and knock a couple down and lower it in the flight, and we'll see if it's fairly easy to sort of do without it trying to climb too much. Yeah, that's lovely. Definitely a slightly lower ball flight there, a little bit more penetrating. That felt quite easy to do. That's running out there just short of 250, quite neutral in its flight. Be interested to see that peak height there. Yeah, 29 yards against the 34 yards, so good. 5 yards lower on its peak of its flight, and I could quite noticeably see that in terms of how that ball sort of came out. Okay, so let's look at some numbers in a little bit more detail with the new Apex 19 Hybrid. Okay, so looking at some numbers, so the first 3 on the top, the normal swings, and you can see that red one there, that lower flight. So ball speed there, 145, 146 is decent sort of ball speed with sort of hybrid, launching at 12, and you can see knocking that down to 10.1 when I'm trying to lower that flight. Obviously, I'm making some adjustments in my swing, a little bit of ball position, trying to stay more over the top of the ball to cover the ball and just present a little bit less loft to knock that flight down, which I've done quite nicely. Spinning around that sort of 3.7 mark, and you can see there's that peak height. So with 34, very consistent with the normal swings in terms of 34, 34, 34, and then down to 29 there, just flat to flight. You can see that change of the descent angle as you'd appreciate, but distance-wise staying quite similar to around that sort of 230 carry mark. Okay, so there we go. There's the new Callaway Apex 19, so new hybrid for 2019, reviewed there. So we've got some bit of extra technology in that Jailbreak that we've seen with the drivers now producing into the hybrids. We've got that weighted screw in the centre section of that sole, so that's not positioned right at the back. Generally, you'll find that more in the sort of bigger hybrids that are trying to promote a higher launch, so moving that weight a little bit further forward in the club face, trying to create that little bit more penetrating flight. And for me, that's a flight that very much ticks the box for me. It's very sort of controllable there. I can then manipulate that and knock that ball flight down on command in a way, which is great. Liking the shape of it. It's a little bit of a different shape with that high toe section, a bit more squat from that front to back section, but again, it gives me an impression a little bit more like a driving iron, and the sound and the feel I think are absolutely stunning. It's a very quality looking club. It finished off very, very nicely. So, you know, I think big thumbs up there from Callaway, keeping that Apex hybrid looking really sweet there. Okay, let me know your thoughts on this. Is that maybe a hybrid that you could go into possibly? I think it's still pretty forgiving there, to be honest. It's not a very small head, even though it's small from front to back. The length of the blade isn't massively small, so I think you can still get a little bit of confidence putting that down behind the golf ball there, but maybe something that you might sort of possibly go out and try. But comment down below, let me know your thoughts as always. Again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, get it hit. What you're waiting for. Get notifications of any future videos, ringing that bell icon. Obviously, follow my social media platforms, both Instagram and Twitter, @MNGolfCoach, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.